Oh, hey, welcome, everybody. Out there in Facebook land, YouTube land. My name's Rich Seidel. I'm the host for the Sober Voyager podcast. This is like where we navigate the journey, the treacherous seas of recovery, and really just learn about life on life's terms and share our experience, strength, and hope together. Kind of like right out of the lines in a lot of those recovery big book stuff, how they say, what it was like, what happened, what it's like now, that scene. But most of all, I just want to welcome everybody to the show. If you're live out there, you know what? Do me a favor, like the channel, whether you like it or not. Subscribe to the channel, whether you want to or not, and share whether you want to or not. That would really help us out. Whether you want to or not, just do it. Okay? That's the way I like to figure things out. Hey, so today I got a special guest. We're going to have a really good show for you today. I got a special guest. His name is Stephen Peterson, and he is the founder, the CEO of Elevate Financial out of Newport Beach, California. So everybody welcome Stephen
Thank you.
Peterson. Everybody cheer, yay!
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, getting right into it, I think one of the things that the most interesting thing about doing the podcast, just like when you walk in, you go, "Hey, man, it's cool in here. This is a cool thing." And podcasts are like supposed to be entertaining, supposed to be fun, not supposed to be serious, right? And I found something out about myself. I'm not really a funny guy. You know what I mean? I don't really have I was listening to somebody the other day and they just say things that are like, they're so witty sometimes. They just come up with stuff that's so funny. And I'm like, how come I can't think of that? And then I realize maybe I'm trying too hard and maybe it's supposed to come out that way. Who knows? But what I do know is that we've got a platform and a vehicle to basically get together with guys and share about really there's like this, I like to call it prosperity recovery, because most of everybody that I've ever got on the show so far, the truth is what I've seen happen is guys that get into recovery, right? Guys that start working a 12-step program, or even with just therapy, or they've made a decision that they're not going to use alcohol and drugs anymore, or whatever it was going on in their life. They've somehow been able to transition from, like, I was homeless 20 years ago. I lost custody of my son 20 years ago, and now, I got my own podcast. Not that that's a great thing or anything, and there's probably going to be 3 people watching it right now. But at the end of the day, I've got it. And I own Surf City Recovery. It's a treatment center here, a men's treatment center in Huntington Beach. And so what I've realized is, getting back to the prosperity part of recovery, some people, they say quickly, sometimes slowly, but at the end of the day, and it's prosperity isn't about, there's a lot of people go, money isn't everything. But coming from Elevate Financial, money's pretty important.
It is.
But so anyway, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and before we get into the journey, tell us a little bit about, we'll kind of do like the reverse engineering. We'll kind of start out with, tell us about Elevate Financial. What do you guys do over there? Just give us your name, rank, and serial number.
For sure. Yeah, no. First of all, thank you guys for having me. Super grateful to be here. But so at Elevate, we have a few different entities. Elevate Financial Partners is the name, but we do complex life insurance planning for business owners, high net worth people, folks that work in finance. Really just mitigating taxable money. Sheltering taxable money, getting it outside of the taxable area and putting it inside of tax-free land.
Got it.
Where you can use it, which is really fun. We do complex life insurance planning. We do assets under management, which is managing money. We do fee-based financial planning. We do tax planning. So Elevate Planning Plus is another entity of ours. We have me and CPAs at that firm, and we have tax attorneys as well, and estate planning attorneys. So we're really like the one-stop shop when it comes to financial planning, because we have all lanes. We have financial planners, we have asset managers, we have portfolio managers, we do tax planning, and then we all put our services together, combined, and we have we pretty much do everything under their sun.
Oh, hey, you know what? That brings it. What's funny is it's not funny. It's just kind of ironic. The things that you're talking about. I know that people that are either on Facebook or they're on the listening to the podcast. This channel will actually, the episodes will produce and reproduce. But one of the things that are important is since you've got this bucket of services that you provide.
For sure.
Let's go ahead and do this. Do me a favor. Share with me the tax sheltering. Let's just say, let me give you a for instance, and you describe to me and to everybody else what you're kind of like right off the cuff, because I'm going to come up with some questions right off the cuff just based on what you told me. Something I think is very valuable is like, tax, how do I not pay my taxes when I have, let's say I have a S corporation or a sole proprietor or some other business that I have, and I get a large capital gains. So let's say I sell a piece of real estate and I get a huge, I guess it's capital gains, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to pay that. And now normally you could do a 1031 exchange from an investment property into another property, right?
Correct.
Is there another way for a person to offset those capital gains that you would recommend to people?
Yeah. So there's, with financial planning, there's two areas when we're talking about tax planning. There's a promoter.
Yeah.
And then there's a tax advisor. And so I always like to not be a promoter because promoters can get in trouble. Those are people that push like one solution and then they can get kind of clipped. So our advisory firm is completely bespoke and we are fiduciary advisors. So for someone I met and they had that situation, I would ask a lot of different questions to figure out the best solution for them. But to answer your question, yes, there are many other things that we can do
to offset the...
Absolutely. I mean, we can do, if you have a large cash infusion, there's really three strategies that come to mind. They are an investment-based tax planning strategy. So you can invest in movies and you can get a 5-to-1 multiple on the deduction. So if you invest $100,000 into a movie, it's section 181 of the tax code.
Okay, got it.
So you invest, $100,000 on paper, you're going to offset a $500K capital gains.
By investing only $100,000?
Yeah, because it's a 5-to-1 multiple on your money.
So what if somebody had
There's
their
also
own...
10-to-1 multiples.
So
totally different.
How does it... Let me ask you this. So somebody where do you get this investment in this movie? Do you have just what if some guy just has like XYZ movie company? Does that qualify? No. How does that work?
It's like legit qualified movies.
Okay, so how do you like determine that?
Well, those are like the movie brokers that we leverage. So there's people that actually do 181 tax deduction strategies for a living. That's all they do. They find the qualified movies.
Okay.
And like you have to sign up. You have to have a certain amount of hours affiliated with that movie project, but it's really really easy.
But that's basically a 5-to-1.
Yeah, 5-to-1.
That's pretty good. That's sweet. I'm sure people are going to want to know more about that. So you definitely contact you with that. That's for sure. That's an interesting one there.
There's also structure, which is really powerful of a strategy. That's a 10-to-1 multiple.
Oh, how do you do that? What's that? Structure.
Yeah, so you invest in a partnership.
Okay.
And inside that partnership, there's a foreign exchange bot that invests in Forex.
Okay.
And so you invest in this partnership. You sign the operating agreement. So if you invest $100,000 on paper, you're going to shave off $1.2 million in taxes. It's a 10-to-1 multiple. So we bring these strategies to the normal retail market. Our CPAs used to work in the big firms, and these strategies that I'm talking about are really offered to ultra high net worth, $25 million net worth or more.
Okay,
so
got it.
We bring these to the retail market because of the CPA's experience in the past. So we also have a tax attorney on our team. He has his LLM, so he's behind the scenes. LLM's a master's in tax.
Okay, got it.
Attorney.
Okay,
so
got it.
JD LLM. So he's behind the scenes, kind of doing all the structure, paperwork. Granted, we have to have fact patterns that equate to, for a client to be investing in these strategies for it to make sense. Because in the event they get audited, they're gonna, the IRS is gonna want to see every single case note, case documentation, fact pattern, etc. So we take a very diligent process.
Got it. So there's the trail.
For sure.
That's the fact pattern.
Yeah.
So you got to have a legitimate trail.
100%.
Right. In the beginning, on the front end, it's like it could be XYZ, but it's not going to hold water when it comes down to like, hey, let's show us this actual investment opportunity. So that's where it really becomes important that you guys know what you're doing.
100%. And then those are two tax strategies that are, I'd say, different. We have, invest in a SEP, solo K, cash balance plan, defined benefit contribution plans. There's so many different pre-tax strategies that people can do. But the problem is, it's not a problem, but I'd say the difference is you're not going to have access to those monies till you're 59 and a half. So a lot of business owners, they want liquidity on their capital. So they like the strategies that we were just talking about.
Wow.
And what we'll do is we'll free up cash flow, so you're not paying Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
You're maintaining the liquidity, so then you can go buy that real estate building. So you can go buy or invest in another rehab.
Right.
And what we also will like to do is we like to pad. So if we save someone money in taxes going to Uncle Sam, we like the client to invest in saving strategies
Right.
that are going to minimize taxes on the
Right.
distribution side.
Right.
So insurance, life insurance is tax free.
Yeah.
Brokerage account, long-term capital gains.
Yeah.
So we want to have cheaper tax rates than ordinary income.
Got it. So, going back to like what I was talking about, the prosperity recovery. So we're, because there's kind of two sides to this. This is like your professional business. It sounds to me like you've got a degree in something. Obviously, you must have like a Series 7. What type of licenses do you have?
Yeah. So I dropped so when I started my career at Northwestern Mutual.
Okay.
And when I was at Northwestern Mutual, I had 6 and 63 and life and health.
Okay.
And when I was there as a producer, I did really well. I was a top producer. I was also a director. Learned the business, loved it. Everything was great, but I wanted more.
Right.
I wanted to offer independence.
Yeah.
So now on my team, my partners have a lot of licenses. I just simply have my life and health because my expertise is the estate planning, life insurance side.
Okay, good.
But one of my business partners has all the licenses that you would ever need.
But you got it all.
Yeah, I don't personally because, I should, but I don't. I don't focus on the investment side.
Right.
I
Okay.
focus on taxes
And family planning.
and life insurance.
Life insurance. Got it.
Business owner planning.
Business owner planning. All right, that's good to know. We'll have more. We got lots to talk about then.
For sure.
But on that stuff. But so now let's kind of do a quick little transition.
Sure.
How does somebody tell us about your journey? I know there's a lot to tell. Tell us a little. Like I was, like what it was like, what happened, and then obviously we know what it's like now. Things are pretty good, but it wasn't always that way. And how do you go from you've had a lot of adversity in your life. Let's kind of segue into that for a little bit.
Okay. So for me, I'm from originally Pasadena.
Okay.
And then I moved to Newport Beach in the middle of high school.
Okay.
I'm from a close-knit Greek Orthodox family.
Oh.
Super Greek.
Get him to the Greek? Or no, what was that? My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Yeah, my Big Fat Greek Wedding. Yeah,
Is that's the guy who's not a Greek guy?
Yeah.
And
he marries the Greek girl.
And he marries the Greek. It's an awesome movie.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's like you guys probably, that's our movie.
It is, for sure.
Christmas, you guys watch that every year.
Easter, yeah.
Easter, Christmas, like there's got to be like an event where you guys, okay, everybody put that movie on,
For
right?
sure, yeah.
Yeah, because everybody loves
Great
that.
movie.
Yeah. It's like, yeah.
It's so funny too, but
and you know what's funny about that is like if you're not so like when you're from a small family, you have one sister, and you watch that movie and you see what family life can look like. In America, like unfortunately, and I don't know if this is true, at least not in my America, the America I grew up in is like we didn't have everybody was so displaced. But when you watch a movie like that, you see how fun family life can actually be.
For sure.
And how family is like either in everybody's business or like, and then they're supporting everybody and just going all in. It's this really is, and now I don't know the truth of it because it is a movie.
No, that's Greeks.
Is it?
Absolutely.
So they did a pretty good job on that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it certainly looks like a fun family to hang out with.
Oh yeah, my family is like.
Oh yeah, you know what's funny is like when they show the other guy's family, his mom and dad are just boring as. They're just so boring. They're like, and they're like, oh, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like. They're like in total cultural shock. That's a pretty funny movie.
And the mom in my Big Fat Greek Wedding, the husband's mom's name is Harriet, and they call her Harry. I mean, it's just it's a funny movie, you know.
Yeah.
But my favorite part was when they like the cousins told Ian, that was the husband.
Yeah.
Echo tria archidia. That means I have 3 balls. They're like, say that to everyone. It means hello, how are you?
Oh yeah.
I do that all the time for people.
You give them some little Greek to tell, and everybody like, hey, just say this to everybody. This is your greeting. It just lets them know that you really care about them. Yeah. And you give them that little. Well, how do you say it?
Echo tria archidia.
Echo tria archidia.
Yeah.
It means I have 3. You know what? Balls. Yeah. Echo.
Tria. Archidia.
Yeah. So you speak Greek?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at it.
All right.
I used to be a lot better, but.
So do you have sorry to interrupt. So you come out of Pasadena, and that sounds like a Greek community.
There are Greeks there.
Sounds like it.
There's a Greek Orthodox church in Pasadena, St. Anthony's.
Okay.
And then there's also one in LA, St. Sophia.
Oh, okay.
And then there's one in Irvine, St. Paul's.
All right.
So I kind of go to all. I don't go to St. Anthony's anymore, but St. Sophia and St. Paul's I go to.
All right. Yeah. So do you have a big Greek family then?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, immediate only there's 5 of us, but cousins huge.
Okay, so there's 5 in your family. That's big. What are you talking about?
Oh, I mean, 3 siblings. I have 2 siblings.
Okay.
And obviously my mom. And
Yeah,
dad,
yeah, your mom and dad. So that's still, yeah.
Not as small, I guess.
Not small. I mean, like 3.
Yeah.
3's company.
Yeah, 3's company.
Yeah, I
it's
guess.
expanded a lot though.
Yeah.
My sister has children. My brother has a child. But I have a lot of cousins.
Okay.
Tons.
Yeah.
It's a large family.
All right.
But yeah, so moved to Newport in high school. My strength was football. So I was really good in football. I was definitely alcoholic towards football.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It was like my passion, my identity. Everything I knew about life was football.
And like, in what position did you play?
I was a quarterback.
You were the quarterback. Mm-hmm. All right.
I look like a linebacker today, but I was once a quarterback.
So you were the quarterback. So you're like the star guy.
Yeah.
And what school was that?
I went to St. Francis in La Cañada and then Newport Harbor in Newport.
And so you played at Newport Harbor?
I did. Then I went to University of Montana for football.
Oh, you did? So you played?
I did.
Okay, that's part of your story.
It is.
I do know that.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah. So
you
football
were
was a huge part of my story.
So you're in La Cañada.
Uh-huh.
La Cañada. Say that. La Cañada.
Yeah.
That's by Glendale.
Yeah, it's kind of near
Pasadena.
Glendale. It's like outside of Pasadena.
Outside of Pasadena, La Cañada, yeah. Flint Ridge.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Prep was across the street from
Right.
St. Francis.
Okay, got it. Right. All right, got it.
Yeah.
So I'm just I was like the other day I was talking about somebody, or just earlier today I was talking about states, and somebody said they were from, what's funny is like we associate the states with the shape that we see on a map. Right? So if you think California, all you think of is the shape of California that you see on the map. And we really kind of like associate. So when I think of cities, the first thing I do is if I don't know the city, I start naming cities that are, I think, in the general area. Now, I still don't know La Cañada, but if I start saying I know Flint Ridge, it somehow makes me think that, I know where you're from now. I know where that's at. So you're in high school.
You're pretty spot on though to know where Flint Ridge is.
Right. Yeah. So now I know visually where La Cañada is.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're in La Cañada. You find out you're good at football. You're the quarterback. Do you guys have any Al Bundy story? You got any Al Bundy stories of on the 2-yard line? Hail Mary, win the game type of thing?
No, I mean, so my freshman year, I did really well. My sophomore year, I got moved up to varsity.
Okay.
The starting quarterback at the time was really good. He got hurt. I got into a game that was against a Southern Section rated opponent.
Yeah.
I did okay. I was all right.
Okay.
I didn't do great. I'd say I did fair, but the reps I got as a sophomore, I did well. Mm-hmm. Going into my junior year, I was definitely going to be really good, but I got hurt.
Oh.
I got hurt. I tore my labrum in the middle of right before fall camp, and I didn't tell anyone about that. I was just gonna try and rough it through, and this.
How'd you get hurt?
Yeah, I was at a Greek Orthodox church camp, believe it or not, and I was running this thing called the Ironman, and I slipped back, put my arm to get my balance, and my shoulder popped out, bad.
Yeah.
So, I could barely move my arm, and I had fall camp in 3 weeks, and I was, at the time I was talking to colleges, and I could throw very far. I was good.
Yeah.
But I knew that this problem was going to persist, and the doctors told me I should get surgery and forego my junior year.
Oh, wow.
And I was just not about that. So my mindset was I was going to just kind of figure it out, do whatever I had to do to succeed, basically.
Right, yeah.
So I went back to physical therapy. I worked really, really hard to get my arm kind of in throwing ready season, I guess. Ended up getting the starting spot my junior year, but we ran a 2-quarterback system, and I made it to I'd say the 8th game in the season. I started every game for 1 through 7, but I'd get pulled because I couldn't my arm wouldn't work. You know
it
what I'm
stops
saying?
working.
I mean, when you have a torn labrum and your offense is throwing most of the time, you can't really do much. I mean, you can last so long. You know what I mean?
Did they ever question you on that? Or?
Yeah, everyone was like, yo, what happened? You used to be able to throw like 65, 70 yards. Now you can maybe make it 30.
Okay.
Like, what's going on? And I just didn't tell anyone. I told my close friends, like, yo, I tore my labrum in the summer. But I didn't want to lose my spot.
Got it.
So I did lose my spot because my arm it didn't work.
Right.
So I got benched. And it really messed with my head.
Yeah.
And that's kind of when I turned to, I started the first time in my life after I got benched, I smoked. Can I talk about this is sober?
It's sober for you. Talk about everything. Yeah, keep going. Keep talking. Just talk to this thing right here.
Okay.
Move the camera. I want to move the camera.
I smoked weed. I smoked weed for my first time. Yeah. And then I started partying a little harder than I used to. Started drinking more, and then my family was like planning to move to Newport Beach. After high school, so I just said to them, like, let's go down now. Like, don't wait for me. Yeah. So I sent my tape to Coach Brinkley, and I came down to Newport Harbor, ready to compete because obviously I wanted to compete at quarterback still. Yeah. Came down to Harbor, didn't know soul, had to make my way in a foreign city. I went from an all-boys Catholic school to a public high school that was pretty large. And I was really nervous. I'll never forget, like, my first week at Harbor. I just didn't know where I was going. I didn't have any friends.
Hold on 1 second. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. It's like, before I moved the camera on. I like that camera angle better.
Yeah.
It's like, you can do that. Hey, there's no rules in life, right? See? Like, this camera angle more straight on you. Okay. So people that are watching that, what? You can talk. It's just it's a podcast. We're just like,
we're just chilling.
There's no editing. We don't really care.
Yeah.
It's no big deal.
I'm with it.
I just like changing things around. I have like ADHD.
Yeah, you're good, dude.
Yeah. So that's why I do it. Okay, yeah. All right, so let's go back into it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I came down to Newport, didn't know anyone, had to make friends fast. Yeah. Had a lot of competition in the weight room. I ended up earning a lot of people's respect. Mind you, my shoulder was still hurt.
Right.
I ended up getting the starting spot at Harbor, but mind you, my shoulder was still hurt. I still had a torn labrum. Oh. So I was able to compete and throw and do things, but I ended up getting benched again. So my high school football career was plagued with my injury, aka my shoulder.
Right.
So I get to, I figured finish high school. I'm like, I'm not gonna get surgery until I actually have to, because I was able to still compete and play. Right. But I never really had my full, like, if I could have competed the way I, like, health wise, my freshman and sophomore year, junior and senior year, I would have dominated. But I didn't have that opportunity. Yeah. So get to college, go to Montana. I don't get cleared to play because of my shoulder. Right. So I had to get shoulder surgery on the start in college. Then from there, I was like, well, I don't have to really play right now. So I started dabbling in a lot of, drinking, fair amount of drugs.
So this is like so there's always like the catalyst moment in everybody's lives where they go from being, okay, I'm focused on this, and then it's usually some kind of thing that happens. Their self-esteem, something happens, and now they start going into like, okay, now you're at Newport, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're going to parties. Mm-hmm. Popular guy, but now somehow your position's.
It was really at Harbor. I drank a lot for sure. But like it's when I went to college, Montana.
Oh, okay, college.
Because I had to get surgery. I couldn't play my freshman year. I had to get surgery on my shoulder. I didn't get cleared.
So you finally did the surgery.
So I got the surgery.
Okay, got it.
But in college, I started doing pills. Drinking. Of
course.
Right. So I
wait. What year is this?
2008.
So 2008 is when you're in college.
Yeah.
All right. So how old are you now?
35. Almost.
So 35. Okay, got it.
So this is kind of where it got gnarly for me.
Okay.
So I'm an alcoholic and I like to do things a lot. So I started snorting Adderall.
Oh.
And 80 milligrams a day, roughly.
How many?
80.
80.
Yeah.
All right. How many
And
pills are those?
It was about 2.
2 pills a day.
Yeah, I would chop them up.
Chop them up.
Yeah.
Now you're snorting Adderall. You're in
Snorting
college.
Adderall.
You're just like living the dream.
Yeah,
That's what guys in college do. They do a lot of Adderall. Apparently, that's how everybody gets through school.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. At least that's what they told you, right?
That's what they told
You're
me.
like,
Right?
this is gonna be good for you. Take this.
And then I had the surgery, so I was taking some opiates too,
Yeah.
coupled with the Adderall. But I was still, my mindset was still football.
Right.
Like I was getting ready to lift. I mean, I was in spring football. I was getting ready. You know, it was in this time of frame was March. So I was getting ready. I was getting really strong, really fast. I was throwing. My arm was back. I was excited. And then one day in March 7th, I woke up and I was paralyzed and blind on my left side.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Now that just happened out of nowhere?
Yeah, it was the most wild experience ever. I had a stroke.
Okay, so you had a stroke.
I had a right basal ganglia stroke.
Okay.
So mind you, my whole football career had been plagued with my shoulder injury and my shoulder injury. And then I was just getting ready and and now I had a stroke. So it was really hard for me because I went to the hospital in Missoula, Montana.
Yeah.
And they ran 1 million tests on me. I was paralyzed and blind on my left side, but mind you.
And how old are you at this time?
I think I was 18.
So you're 18.
Yeah.
And you've had all this adversity associated with your shoulder all through high school.
Yep.
And you played football and you still made it to Montana. Did they scholarship you?
No, I was a walk-on.
So you were a walk-on. Okay. And so you got accepted at the college and then went ahead and tried out for the team. Okay, got it. So
Well, I came in. I was a preferred walk-on.
So you were a preferred walk-on. You're 18 years old. Now you're at Montana. You're thinking, okay, I had my surgery. I'm getting ready to go, and now you get struck with another big old hurdle, obstacle, just out of left field. You're getting tested. You have a stroke.
It's brutal.
Brutal. 18 years old. What's going through your mind?
Well, they told me that I'll never walk or talk normally again. And I was still really convinced that I was going to not only walk and talk again, but I was going to play football because I still hadn't gotten my shot. And so I just kept saying, like, when can I play? Can I compete? You know, the nurse, I'll never forget, you know, she was kind of heavy set and she said, honey, you'll be lucky if you can walk again. And I'll just never forget that moment. But, you know, I don't know, man. I at that moment in time, I just started praying aggressively.
Okay.
And I grew up with God.
Okay,
in my life.
got it, yeah.
I actually had a huge resentment against God because
Right.
I feel like, you know, my brother was also a quarterback and he balled it up in high school. He balled it up in college.
Oh, I didn't know that. So now you're following in the foot. You're on the coattails of your brother.
Yes.
Oh, a new element, a new twist.
Yeah, and my sister is also a rock star. So
Oh, yeah, okay.
It was kind of like, you know, I feel like why was I the one that had to go through all this pain? You know, this adversity. That's
Yeah.
the best word.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like I got so much adversity thrown at me so young.
Yeah, you did. It's brutal. It sounds. It's like really like compared to like. So I mean, I was out just like tearing through people's lives and not giving a fuck, basically. And then here's a guy that's trying to do everything he can to just be a badass in football and scholastically, and just literally do everything right. But except now you're drinking, using drugs.
Yeah, now it's.
And then this. Do you think that the drinking or drugs had anything to do with the stroke?
Like I can tell you now.
What was it? Yeah, what happened? Because I know I've had many strokes too from doing too much cocaine.
Yeah,
like
mine was Adderall.
Oh, so yours was from? So it was definitely from the Adderall.
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
So
100% drug-induced stroke.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I developed
self-imposed.
Yeah,
at this
and
point.
then even worse, like I had, I have thick blood. I didn't know that. Prothrombin mutation. Or hypercoagulable blood is what it's called. And
so is this a condition that you have in addition to abusing Adderall?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have
but I didn't know that.
But you didn't know, by the way. But
no.
okay, so you didn't know that.
No.
So you have this other condition that's going on that's simultaneously taking place without your knowledge, and then all of a sudden you start doing this Adderall, and the two combined
and
lead to this. Okay, what else is
I had
there?
a hole in my heart.
Oh.
A patent formin ovale. So everyone's born with a PFO.
Okay.
1 out of 5 people's PFO don't close.
Okay.
I was one of those 5. So now you layer on the PFO with the thick blood, with the amount of Adderall I was snorting, you know, you're kind of fucked.
You're baking the cake.
Yeah.
The stroke cake.
The stroke
at
cake.
18 years old.
Correct.
So those are interesting combinations that you just got plagued with.
Yeah, that's just part of me.
That's part of who you were.
Yep.
I mean, you would have, something was going to happen bad anyway, but either way. So now you have this stroke that they're telling you nothing's going to happen. You're not going to walk. You're not going to talk. You're lucky to just basically, sounds like, not be a vegetable.
Yeah, and by the grace of God, man, I came out of the stroke. And you know, I had to get right my left side. I had to work it out more. You know,
what does that look like when you're 18 years old? What is it like when you have a stroke? Does your face like? Because I know when I had so you have the droopy left side of your face was like Bell's palsy type of droopy. Yeah. Like you've seen that, so it was kind of like that.
100%.
100% like that.
Yeah, and then my
Scary.
left arm was stuck like that.
Got it.
So it was super
locked up in every way.
It was super trippy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And how was your speech? Could you? It was hard to put to get.
Yeah, it was slurred.
Put your thoughts and make them actually come out like you're thinking.
Yeah, it was definitely slurred in my I was confused, and before I went to the hospital, I remember like I had to call my football coach at Montana, and I had to call the quarterback coach, and I had to call the trainer, and then I told my girlfriend at the time that I was really hungry, so I wanted to eat. So we went to get food before the hospital. Mind you, I just had a stroke.
Right.
But I didn't know.
You didn't even know.
I just thought like maybe I got like from football, it was something was off. I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't know I had a stroke. So yeah, I mean, I came out of the stroke, and I had to get heart surgery. So I had to get my PFO closed. So I met with a few different cardiologist teams, and a few were like, we're going to crack your ribs open. Wow. We're going to close the heart. And then another guy at UCLA was like, no, we're going to go through your femoral artery, and we're going to close the hole that way.
Got it.
So that's what I chose. That's what we chose to do. So I got my PFO closed by Dr. Tobis at UCLA. Then went through my femoral artery. And then after that, I was told I can't get hit for a while. Right. So, but I said, you know, Teddy Bruschi had the same stroke as me. He was a linebacker on the New England Patriots.
Okay.
And he came out with a book, and I read it.
Yeah.
And his book gave me so much inspiration because he had the stroke and he went back and played ball. So I was like, if he did it, so can I. So I told my coaches at Montana, like, look, I'm not done with this football thing here. Like I'm.
So you're still driven. You still got the motivated. You're still driven. Despite all these obstacles in your life right now, you're going to continue to pursue this football career.
Yeah.
All right.
Somebody say I'm fucking crazy.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm like, all right, let's do this. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, what's your family saying to you this whole time?
So like when I was younger, I was so good in football.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I really was.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I had a quarterback coach.
Yeah.
And all the guys I trained with on a regular basis went to the NFL.
Okay.
That were quarterbacks.
Right.
So, like, we all, like, were buddies and went our own paths and stuff. But, you know, I competed with them just fine. You know, we threw all together on Sundays.
Sure. And so there's no reason why you didn't think that, you know, if I've been through all this other stuff, I can get through this.
100%.
Right.
I was like, I'll be straight. Mentally. Long story short, you know, I get through spring football.
Yeah.
And Montana, I just wasn't as good, dude. Just to keep it real, I had just a stroke. I had the surgery.
Yeah.
I had the surgery on my shoulder. Like I had so much up top. I was afraid of getting hit because of the heart surgery. Like there was a lot of stuff that plagued me. I just wasn't as good as I once was.
Right.
And mind you, it had been years since I actually, like, you know, it'd been, at that point I was a freshman in spring. It'd been about almost 2 years since I've actually competed in a real game. So, because of the injuries. You know?
Right.
But I was still there, still part of the team, still had my best friends on the team. But, you know, after the stroke, Montana was basically like, look, man, like, we want you a part of the team, but more in like a coaching manner. You're more of a liability risk at this point because of all this stuff you've been through.
Well, yeah, you got you got the PFO thing,
and the talent wasn't there, so I totally got it. But I told myself I came to Montana to play football, so I don't want to stay in Montana, and if I'm not going to play football, I'm going to party. So I transferred to University of Arizona. And when I went to U of A, that is when
Boom.
That is when the explosion went off.
Okay, cool.
You know,
that's what's now we're getting to the addiction part. Now, so it's basically party time. Did you graduated? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I finished school.
Okay.
Which I'm so grateful for. And it was a fucking disaster though.
Okay.
I mean, Arizona. I joined a frat, had a great time, and then I met this thing called OxyContin.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. And so I was, definitely living a double life. I
thought you were going to say, and I met this girl, and then you said that, and I thought, it could be, it's kind of the same thing, maybe even more powerful.
No, I had a lot of girls at the time. Yeah. Not just one.
Right, okay.
But, I not like a girlfriend, but I was, just having fun.
Yeah, quarterback guy.
But, yeah, so transferring to Arizona at first, it was super fun, partied, lived it up in the frat life, had a great time.
So was it? So when you say you met OxyContin, now it's a party favor, something that you got introduced to while you're just
at a party, just
at a party, a line, snorting it.
Yeah, snorting it, and then I would come home for breaks and see my buddies from Harbor.
Yeah,
and fair amount of them would smoke it, so I started smoking it.
Nice.
And then I went back to college. I noticed I started buying a little bit more of it.
Okay.
A little bit more of it, then to the point where I just didn't care about the party and I wanted the OxyContin.
Right. Yeah.
So I started smoking it pretty much every day.
Okay.
I went from being a really popular person to just cared about me really and my OxyContin.
Yeah.
And then the government changed the pill. So when the government changed the pill, it got you couldn't really lick the coating off as much and chop it up and have it slide on tinfoil as easily.
Right, yeah.
So I dabbled with Opana, I dabbled with Roxy's, and then I just met heroin.
Oh.
And heroin just was so much better than all of it, honestly.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Said it right.
So you just went, so you went to, also now that's the progression of your disease. You found home eventually.
For sure.
And this is where you found and made your home, was in some foil and some heroin.
For sure. And I noticed when I would smoke my OxyContin or heroin, I noticed all my pains of my lack of ability to get my shot in football went away. I didn't think about pain. I didn't think about my sadness. I didn't think about how I put so much time and effort into something and it never came to fruition. All that shit just went out the door. And it was me high in my element,
and you just didn't care. One of the things that make it so attractive is despite there's this big letdown that takes place, I guess, a lot of times. I mean, you must have experienced this sense when you realize that, what, now none of this is going to happen and I just want to escape.
100%. That's exactly.
And you found it.
Yeah, for sure. And I hurt my ankle at Montana. I didn't even talk about that. So
then
two torn ligaments in my left ankle.
Hey, it's totally justifiable then.
For sure.
It's
right?
I hurt my ankle, my torn ligament here, torn ligament there. Yeah. Now I might as well just get high about it.
100%. I mean, that's where my mindset was, at least. And I was a guy going to class and high on dope. And then, I'd come home and I would figure out ways to get money so I could buy more dope. I mean, I rode my bike to the dealer's house pretty much many times a day. I started doing him favors so I could get additional dope.
Right.
I mean, it's just my whole life started really taking a gnarly dive. I started associating myself with more criminals in Tucson, Arizona.
Sure.
It's cartel land, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're not talking about the most, sophisticated folk.
Yeah.
In school.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Hardened criminals.
Yeah. So now you're in the lifestyle now.
Mm-hmm. Deep in the game.
Went from being the guy that's just motivated no matter hell or high water, I'm playing football, to being I just want more drugs. Did you ever get involved in selling it or do anything like that?
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
I would sell coke. Mainly.
Coke. Yeah. Okay.
Not as much on the opiates, but definitely coke. And but I realized, I'm not doing a good job here because I started using my products. So,
right, sure, of course.
Any money that I'd get, it would. I didn't re-up. I would just go buy either dope or I'd use my blow, and I'd combine the dope and the blow. I mean, it was just a disaster. I was actually probably the worst drug dealer.
Yeah, right. You know, it's funny. Everybody's like that. You start out good, you start out strong, but then once the drug takes you and you become you're no longer its master. It's your master, and it's not. It's just that's the way it goes. And then 100%. It becomes this vicious cycle about how to keep it all going, how to keep it afloat, and how to keep my parents over here, and how to keep my family thinking this, and keep, try to graduate. But I mean, you did graduate.
I did. So
that's always amazing to me. Is how do people do this?
I don't know.
Like.
I think for me, I'd come home, so I'd stock up on Suboxone.
Yeah.
Come home, take stubs, and then when I get a little itchy, I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna go out, and then I'd go pick up in Santa Ana. I mean,
what's the craziest do you have any stories of almost getting robbed or some type of? What was the one? Tell us a story about some event that you probably haven't told your mom or wouldn't tell your mom. Maybe she'll find out now.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, when you're deep in the heroin game,
yeah,
I mean that's a crazy life. But yeah, I mean, I had a few. I let a guy use my car to go to Mexico in Tucson.
Smart thing to do.
And he said I'd get extra dope when he came back.
Oh.
A lot. And so I was like, this is a great deal. Well, he told me he'd be gone for 2 days. Mm-hmm. He was gone for 2 weeks with my car, and I couldn't reach him. So I knew where he lived.
Yeah.
So what I did was I had a machete.
Uh-huh.
Still have that same machete, but
right.
I took my machete, I rode my bike to his house, and I banged on his door a lot. I knew he had a wife and a kid.
Right.
So I banged on his door. And
Madman machete.
With a machete.
Yeah.
I banged on his door, and the wife came to the door, and I threatened her, and I said if her husband doesn't return my car, I mean, it's gonna get really ugly for them.
Right.
And I popped off at them, and then with my machete, I chopped down something in his backyard, and I just went ham. Okay.
Yeah.
I just lost all frame of.
Right. Well, you're just out there. You're gone.
Yeah.
Full flight from reality. They talk about outright mental defect.
Correct.
You're in that spot. You've progressed now to you're getting crazy.
Yeah. And so he comes back, and my house got robbed. I got held up at gunpoint. I got threatened that if I ever touch or go near his house again, that I'm gonna get whacked.
Yeah.
And that he's never to see me again. And then he gave me 2 larges, 2 grams when I was expecting a lot.
Yeah.
And gave me my car back. My car was all fucked up. But I mean, he held the gun at my head. There was people with him.
Wasn't looking good for you.
Very scary.
Yeah. So that's pretty gnarly.
Yeah. Super gnarly. I had an apartment at the time. I lived alone. It was really scary.
It's what's funny is remember the movie Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
Our lives are literally Pulp Fiction, because you could just intertwine that one day. It's just one.
So true.
One day.
I never thought
just
about that.
in the movie Pulp Fiction, it's a whole bunch of different days. That how it's the weird combination. I could tell a story, you could tell a story, and literally it could be this 8-hour period of time that would literally just blow your mind. Because if you took that right and did a detailed movie of that event, what would that actually look like, and how good of material it would be when you really look at the lives that you used to lead. And for people out there thinking, how does, one of the things, like I said, prosperity recovery, right? So how do I go from being this guy that's living this life to becoming a financial planner, a financial advisor, somebody who knows the tax code, knows how to get that stuff, and really be able to utilize that and parlay that, so to speak, the adversity in our life. They saying how our greatest character defects become our greatest character assets. You take a story like that. How old were you when that took place?
I think I was 21.
So you're 21, right? So those are years. That's a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you've been. And so, how long have you been
sober? 12 years.
So you got 12 years of sobriety.
I got sober.
And then when did you start your company?
I started Elevate at 3 years ago, but I have been in the business. I started at Northwestern Mutual at 24.
Okay, got it.
So my get well job was selling shoes at Nordstrom.
Okay.
And I went on a men's stag retreat, and I met a guy named Jordan, and Jordan worked at Northwestern Mutual. He was also sober.
Okay.
And he got me an interview at the Northwestern Mutual office, and I mean, one of the managing directors there was sober. So I fully opened up and told my story, and he was like, "We are offering you an opportunity here."
Right.
And when I started at Northwestern, I was a baby, man. I was a baby in my recovery. I was a baby in the business. But what that drive came roaring back when I got sober. That drive, just to dominate, to succeed in whatever I'm doing.
Right. So now you just kind of like, it's interesting. That isn't interesting. So about the idea about guys who come in here and like I said, the people who have been on here, we're motivated by opportunity.
For sure.
And a lot of times what it takes is the right opportunity has to come into your lap. And then the energy, the motivation, the passion, the persistence, the determination that you had and applied in that area of your life, even like when people apply it in drug dealing and stuff like that, they're really good at it.
For sure.
And but now all of a sudden when it stops working, the nice part about most alcoholics and addicts is they have that mindset, that opportunity mindset of I want to win, and when I see an opportunity, I know how to take advantage of it. Mm-hmm. So what was the event? Tell me about the event that led up to I like to call it day -1. Before you raised the white flag, before you surrendered, there was a series of events that got you to say, you know what, I'm done. And so like day -1 before you said, okay, I'm going to do something different. What was happening? So you have 2 of those. Let's hear them.
There are 2. So like I mentioned, I'm really close to my family.
Okay.
And I, at the time I was so deep in the dope game that like my brother told me, there were actually 3. My brother told me that I was the biggest piece of shit. He used to once respect me, and he used to be so proud I was his little brother. Yeah. And now he thinks I'm a piece of shit, and that he doesn't respect me at all, and he's disgusted that I'm his brother. So he said that to me, and then my sister was just, I tried to. It was Mother's Day, and I was hurting physically from withdrawal. Yeah. And my family we went to brunch for Mother's Day. I was kicking dope the whole time, and my sister said something, and I punched her shoulder, and I just realized, man, I have completely lost myself. Like it's gone. You know what I mean? And my dad and my brother wrestled me down to the ground, and then I went upstairs and I grabbed a knife and I contemplated killing myself. Okay. And then the next thing was I got caught stealing. And once the gig was up and like the money train was done, I just realized like I got I'm torched here. Like I don't have.
Like it's over.
Yeah, it's done.
You just realize this is over.
The gig is up here.
The gig is up.
Like there's no other thing I can do.
Right.
So that's kind of like what drove me to like realizing like I need to make a change or I will die, because I overdosed 5 times. So, but the ODs didn't stop me. In fact, I was completely content at the time. Like if I die, I'll probably die a dope fiend.
Right. So you were at that place. You got to a place of total hopelessness.
100%.
Total. Now, did you ever play professional ball too?
No.
Did you never? So after the college thing, there was no more football, drugs. Went to Arizona, partied. Now you're getting the whole. Yeah. All right.
So what did it for me was I went to treatment. I went to Oceans.
Okay.
And I went there, and then my first week there, I decided to leave and go on the boardwalk, and I relapsed. I went out, got shit-faced, and I came back to Oceans, and I blew hot. You know? And they were like, "You're not gonna be here." So they sent me to Yellowstone, and I'll tell you what, that was the best experience for me. Right. Because when I was at Yellowstone, I met another guy who had literally my exact story. Right. His dad does the same profession as mine. He went to another school like very similar to mine. He played baseball. Okay. I played football. Okay. We both had aspirations professionally to do big things. And the difference is, looking at him, he was fully tatted from head to toe. Right. And he had just got out of prison. and he was also a heroin guy, and he said, if I stay on the path that I'm on, you're gonna end up dead, 100%, or in prison.
Right.
There's no other option for you. And he said, and if I could share with you some of the stories that I went through in prison just to stay alive, he was like, if you could save yourself right now, pick up that blue book. And you know what, man? Like, that hit me. I heard him. And my grandpa passed away. So I got sober on August 5th, 2012. Okay. My grandpa passed away March 24th, 2012.
Okay.
And before he passed away, he told me, in order for you to become the man that I know you can be, you have to stop drinking. And I loved my papu more than anyone. And I still get emotional to this day because I didn't get sober before he passed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He didn't see me get right.
Okay.
But I heard, for some reason, when I was at Yellowstone that day, I heard him and I thought of my papu.
Uh-huh.
And I just decided I'm gonna listen for the first time in a long time. I'm gonna fucking listen. Mm-hmm. And that was the start of my sobriety.
All right.
Yeah.
So that was 2012?
Yeah.
And where were you living after that?
I was in sober living.
Okay.
And I got my car taken away.
Okay.
Because I was like dating a girl that I shouldn't have been dating according to the rehab or whatever that had my sober living, and I was lying about it. So they actually pulled me back in, and I went in-house at 9 months sober.
Okay.
My car got taken away. I had a bike. And then when I got out of there, I decided to go to a different sober living, but I still didn't have my car. So I rode my bike everywhere. I rode my bike to Nordstrom when I was selling shoes. Mm-hmm. And that was far, dude. I was trekking on that bike.
So, like, the whole process kind of seems to work for me. You started out and basically went through the recovery process, and then did you ever find your way into, like, a 12-step community?
Absolutely.
Okay.
My treatment facility made us go to meetings every day.
Okay, got it.
So I did 12 steps, had a sponsor.
Okay.
Still do.
Got it.
Still sponsor guys.
All right.
I'm pretty deep in my 12-step program.
And how does that play out in your professional world? You
know what, man? I help so many guys that are sober.
Right.
A lot of my market is the recovery space.
Okay.
So I mean, you know, it's not because I seek it out. It's just that's what I do. And
yeah, it's networking. Like
people in recovery make money.
Right. Yeah, people in recovery make money.
We're all pretty successful folk.
That's what I was saying. Wild. It's like interesting. Like if you're out there and you're listening. So sometimes when you're talking to me and you want to make an emphasis to your audience, like go over to the camera and go, you know what? If you're out there and you're listening right now, there's one opportunity that you need to know that you need to take advantage of, and that's not how to plan your finances because it's how to stay stopped, how to not pick up again, right? And so how we do that one day at a time 100%. Is we engage. Like the other day I was somebody read the part, something about we're not saints. The point, what's the point? The point is that we're willing to grow along spiritual lines.
For sure.
And then that was what in the meeting that I was at that morning, they were talking about that page, and I didn't share, but I was thinking about it. Then that night I went to another meeting because I've been sober 19 years and I still do 2 meetings a day sometimes.
That's what's up.
You know, because it's important to me because that's what I saw the guys before me do.
It's our medicine.
It's our medicine. It is our medicine. And it's like, and if you really have the disease, you need to take the medicine because the understanding that at least that I have is that if I'm willing and to apply these principles in my life, right? Then my life, and not my life will change, but I'll change and I'll look at my life differently and I'll look at certain circumstances differently.
100%.
And the change takes place when the change in myself takes place.
100%.
Now, if you're out there and you're going, how do I go from being a homeless? So I was homeless too, right? How do I go from a guy that's in sober living, homeless, and how do I get to a place where I'm a business owner? I have money to plan to create more wealth with, right? How do I go from that? What do I do? And its simple answer is, like you said, somebody said something, hey, see that, say that, what did he say?
Pick up that big blue book.
Pick up that big blue book. And it's like that simple. Mm-hmm. Like if I had one, I'd be holding it like this, right? This is power.
It is.
You know, and it's like the secret to success. And it's not, it's funny too, because I was listening to somebody share about this concept about the spiritual side of the program, and God, and how they talk about, a lot of capital H's in there, and a lot of all that referencing God, so to speak, even though it's a power, a greater. A higher power, a God of your own understanding, which is true, but it's really about the action that we take in helping other people, 100%. Right? Because like you said, it's like most of your business comes from, people that have become prosperous in recovery, which most people, if you work the steps, practice the program, and help other people do it, just somehow not somehow, by hard work that you're putting in, just into that bucket, I guess, the spiritual bank account that you're building.
Yep.
There's like a transformation that takes place, because if you are setting your mind and really basically speaking it into the universe, like, hey, I want to be prosperous, I want to make money, I want to have a good job, I want to provide for my family. How do I do that? It all just comes together in literally in the rooms. It seems like it.
That's it.
I
mean, that's
so
it.
Was there like any kind of event that took place that you went, because you did get a degree from Arizona University in what, business management or finance? What did you get a degree in? Finance.
Yeah.
So you got a degree in finance.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And so after you get your degree in finance, you're still like, because how old were you when you graduated?
22.
So you graduated college at 22?
Yeah, 20. Well, 20. Let's see.
So you just kind of, you still powered through it.
20. I was 23 actually. Sorry, 23.
So 23. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. All right.
Yeah.
So you got a degree in finance at 23, and you get sober at
23.
At 23.
Yeah.
So right out of okay, so now it's like, okay, now I'm done. This is what happened. That little, after, okay, go back and tell me, lead up to how did you get, the guy said, here's, you're at Yellowstone.
Yeah.
The guy tells you this book.
Yeah, he goes, pick up that big book, get a sponsor.
Okay.
Get a home group.
Right.
And don't ever miss that meeting.
Right.
Like your life depends on it. And he goes, have you heard of 90 and 90? No. He goes, 90 meetings, 90 days, dude, straight up. Trust me. And I was like, I said to him, like, no offense, bro, but like, how can I trust you? You just got out of prison. He's like, good question, bro. That's a good question. But I've been sober for a year, and I did that in prison. So you can too.
Right. Okay.
And he was like, the only reason I'm here is because I have nowhere to go. And I was like, okay, I respect that. So I heard that, and I didn't want to be him.
Right.
I didn't want to go to prison. I didn't, So my motivation to get sober was I was listening to a guy who had my exact story, and I didn't want to go to prison. So I listened, and I'm so grateful I had that interaction. I'm so grateful.
Right. Isn't it interesting how it's just some random individual that comes into your life? Not random, but
Yeah.
I feel like you said, I believe God places people in our lives and has been placing them in our lives the whole time. We just weren't in a place to see it actually for what it was. Like, when they say, when people say, hey, God performs miracles, like the first thing that pops into my mind when somebody tells me about God and miracles, I think walking on water or turning water into wine. And it has to be some profound, crazy thing to actually be defined as a miracle. Like, oh, he healed the sick. Okay, so you had cancer and then God healed you. Now I believe in God because I've seen an actual miracle. When a miracle, like right now, me talking to you, us sitting together right now, we are like miracles.
We are.
We're miracles.
100%.
We are living miracles.
The fact that we're here to have this conversation is a miracle. And the fact that we can go to an AA meeting and there's time in recovery in there, that's a miracle.
That's a miracle.
And what's crazy, even crazier, is I help a lot of attorneys. I help a lot of physicians. I help a lot of people that work on Wall Street. It's like, how in the... If these people knew my past, they wouldn't have to talk to me.
They might see it and go, oh, wait a minute, stay away from that. They're going to go, hey, wait a minute, we just saw something on Facebook or something. I didn't know.
I mean, look, that's my story.
That's your story.
That's who I am.
I get it. And that's cool. You got to own that stuff. Proud of it. Yeah.
Because most people, truth be told, most people that, if they walked in my shoes, they wouldn't be here.
That's right.
And so I'm proud.
Yeah, you should be. And it's funny that you say that like that too, because just the fact, like I always say, people who actually get recovery, they got like superpowers. So like people are out there right now going, hey, why would I want to align myself with that guy? Because that guy has overcome challenges and adversity that nobody else can ever do.
No.
So like when it comes
understand money.
And you understand money. So now like what's going to happen is I can parlay that and then actually make that really, if I can get through this, I can take that and really get through that. So
100%.
that must be like really powerful for you.
It's just been like, business is tough. Everyone that owns a business, it's not always peaches and cream, There's a lot of adversity in business, but what drives me is this is nothing compared to what I've been through.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's what gives you the competitive advantage.
Exactly.
It really is a competitive. It's a type of training that, like when I was going back to, we're not saying, but we're willing to grow along spiritual lines. So the spiritual lines, and I was saying this, it doesn't come from like, when I grow spiritually, it's not through prayer and meditation.
No.
It's not
work.
It's through hard work, self-sacrifice. It is through overcoming. There's that word again. Our word for the day is going to be adversity. You want to pull up the definition of adversity. Let's try to pull that up and do a PIP, and we'll look at like what that means, because you know what? It's like having, there's a line in one of my favorite lines in the big book. It talks about, having shared in a common peril is one of the elements in the cement that binds us, and that's kind of like when we even just sitting here in the same, like we get to, the nice thing about having a podcast is you get to meet people and you get to be friends with them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm gonna get your number. Well, I have your number.
Yeah. It's like, it's super cool, know, and it's like super rad. I think it's like, let's look up adversity really quick. Go ahead and, I can't actually see the word because I don't have my screen up right now, but I know adversity. What is it? Let's see. All right, never mind. Because we're playing around with the cameras thing. It's kind of fun to like do the picture-in-picture thing. But go ahead and read us what adversity says.
One's opponent in a contest, conflict, or dispute.
One's opponent in a contest,
That's the noun.
conflict, or dispute. Yeah, the adversary. That's what that is. That's like that's a noun. So we do. That is kind of true though. That's like alcohol. Any challenge is our opponent. It's the conflict. It's the event or the circumstance that would otherwise is working against us.
For sure.
And sometimes the adversity is in our mind.
Yeah, it's not real.
It isn't even real. Part. Yeah, the thing that we're creating our own adversity that's like not even real.
Especially alcoholics. We're the best at it.
Oh yeah, well I mean that's what I'm talking about. But you know what? But the only thing is everybody does it.
For sure.
The only thing is alcoholics find their escape and their relief from it in alcohol and drugs, and it turns into a lifestyle that just
perpetuates itself.
I was like, we were driving down the street the other day, and I was looking at all the houses on left or the right of me, and here we're like congratulating ourselves for having overcome this adversity, and look at us today, and we're doing the right thing because our lives depend on it. Not because it's just the right thing to do.
No, this is life and death.
But for us, it's life and death. And that's why really when you experience the kind of overcoming this adversities in our life, now everything else becomes like a walk in the park.
It does.
And you really have to look at things like, okay, well, what's the solution to that? Because if I can overcome this, whatever that is,
we'll be okay.
We're going to be okay. In fact, just stop doing everything.
Clear this up.
What up?
Because evidently I'm an illiterate alcoholic.
Okay.
Adversity.
Adversity. What'd you put?
Difficulties, misfortune. I put adversary.
Adversary. Yeah, I know. I saw that. It's like, so wait a minute. That's like an adversary, but it could be an adversary. But adversity is difficulty, right? Difficulties and misfortune, and it's also our adversary. Alcohol is our adversary.
It is.
Drugs are our adversary. It's working against us. So like, but the spiritual growth, what we're getting at, comes from really the pain and suffering. And they say, it's like the touchstone, the cornerstone. Isn't it? Pain is the cornerstone of
growth.
Growth.
Yeah.
Pain is the touchstone of growth. It really is.
Yeah.
And so when I'm just chilling, and I'm just like, hey, I'm coasting. There's really no growth in it.
No,
it's
there's
only
not.
when I'm like hit.
It's like growth. I feel like is like this, but as long as it's going up, then we're winning.
Right. So it's really the idea now is like, okay, so how do I go from getting back to your story, which I think is pretty awesome. You got this career, you got this drug addiction, you got this college degree, you come out of that, you have decided to treatment and you're doing the work in the big book and you get out of where you're at and you're still only what 24, 25?
Yeah.
And what's your family looking at? How are they seeing things now?
You know, that was the biggest blessing ever. You know, like my first Thanksgiving, I think it was. Well, no. My birthday. I got sober August 5th. Yeah, my birthday. I was in rehab. You know, we went to dinner. I obviously went back to rehab, but we went to dinner, and I felt a lot of, you know, they're at peace. Granted, it had been a few weeks, like 3 weeks or something. They were at peace though, more that I was at least there. Mm-hmm. But my sister, I had 30 days sober, and my sister told me that if I continue the life that I have been living, and when she has kids, mm-hmm. she doesn't want them to get to know me. She doesn't want me in their life. And that was powerful. That
was at 30 days?
30 days.
So you're doing good for 30 days?
Yeah, I'm good.
And
then boom, you know?
Boom.
Yeah. So, like, it was super, for me, my first, like, probably 3 months was, like, first of all, I was still kicking.
Yeah.
I didn't go to, like, back in when I was going through treatment, there was, like, primary care. I didn't go to primary care. I just went straight to like, rehab. There was no detox for me, so I was detoxing there, straight cold turkey kicking dope.
Yeah,
no anything. It was brutal. So like it took me a long time just to feel normal without sweats, without wanting to yak. I had jaundice.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I was sick.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so you really got bad.
Yeah, I got bad. And you know, so it took me some time to get even normal, like to feel okay. And then when I had 6 months sober, I remember like my mom and dad like saying like it's gonna take time for me to get a key back to their house.
Yeah.
So like it wasn't my sobriety. It wasn't like it got easy for it. Like I had to put in work. I got sober and then I had to get deep in the steps.
Yeah.
You know, because like no one around me trusted me.
Right.
You know, no one. And then to make it even harder, I got into a business where, you know, the model is go hit up your friends and family.
Yeah, right. That's what they do.
Financial products.
You're like all you do is go out there and get everything. You just make a list of 20 people that you know, and then give them to us because we're gonna pop them
and call them and then bring us and we're gonna make them a client.
Yeah, exactly.
And like I'm thinking, well, I don't have friends and family.
As soon as you call somebody and they go, hey, listen, I'm now working in financial planning. Send me your W-2s and your bank statements and all that kind of stuff, like because that's what you got to do, right?
And they're like, dog, you owe me money.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Oh, okay. I need to make a financial amends then. You know,
yeah, that's so funny. As soon as you know what's funny is I've had guys absolutely call me like clients, right? Guys who came through the program, they go and they get. Somebody tells them they're going to make 6 figures being a financial planner, and it's the same companies. There's like New York MetLife, all those things, and they all go work there as a commissioned employee. Yep. And the first thing they do is they're calling everybody, and I'm going, okay, this guy has just got out of treatment. He's got 6 months, and he's calling around, and I go, hey, listen. This probably might not be a good job for you because nobody's going to actually just want to turn over their financials to you, just so you know.
No, and that's what my dad told me.
Your dad told you that?
Yeah, my dad's like, Steven, you should probably not call. Or anyone because no one trusts you.
Right.
I was like, okay. So what I did was I cold called.
Okay.
I called people that didn't know me.
Okay.
And I became a dog on the phone.
Oh, got it. Right.
And I did very well. And the whole model, like go hit up your friends and family, that didn't work for me because no one trusted me.
I don't think that works for anybody. Everybody's still like, okay, I'm going to set up an appointment at 8:00 at night for some random people to come into my house and start telling me how to manage my money. And then you look at them and go, do you even own your own home?
Yeah, like what do you know? Because Lord knows I didn't know. But what I did know was I didn't know. And I was humble enough to know I didn't know, but I knew that people did know. So I was going to become a beast at setting appointments.
Right.
And that's what I did. And then I met people out and about and, conversed with them and was like, hey, do you have blank? No, I don't. Oh, let me get your number. I'd love to meet with you. So I built my business in a complete roundabout way, completely opposite of what they were telling me. But it's funny because in the class that I had, like there were 20 of us. 6 months in, there were 3 of us. And mind you, I just hit an award that barely anyone hits in the company.
Oh, nice.
And 12 months in, there was one of us, and it was me. So I was thinking, like, you know, all these people hit up their friends and family. I didn't hit up one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
And I just did it the opposite way. And then, you know, I grew. I started doing really well. I grew. And it's just kind of like, you know, I stuck. My program is the baseline of my life.
Right.
Without my sobriety, I'm nothing. And I know that.
And you know that. Good.
So, like, helping other people, like, I believe today that I'm alive because, honestly, I should be dead. Mm-hmm. Why am I alive when so many, and I always get emotional talking about this, but so many of my friends are dead.
Right. Yeah.
You know? Like, this shit's real.
Yeah. And
for people that don't understand or realize that, like, Alcoholics Anonymous is my, like I said, my medicine.
Yeah.
I need it.
Yes.
And my God is I mean, it's so impactful, but, like, I have a lot of friends that forgot. You know? They got sober, they got good shit, and then the convincer up here
tells them they don't need to do it anymore.
We don't need this anymore.
I got it.
And they go out, they shoot some dope. Now it's laced with fentanyl, and they're dead.
Yeah, scary.
It's real.
Super scary. You know, it's interesting how, like, and that's the thing. Like, not everybody's going to come into AA, into recovery, 12 steps, treatment, and then become business owners. It's not for everybody, and it's really, I think. But at the end of the day, what is for everybody is long-term recovery and a perspective change that enables you to know. And I told myself this too, because I even said I was afraid of what I'm capable of because I know what I was doing out there when I was getting high. Now I'm going to be sober and I'm going to go out there and do this. And it kind of scared me.
Yeah, I get that.
I was like, I was kind of worried about that. I know what I could do. And now I'm sober, and now I'm afraid to start something again.
I had that same feeling.
Yeah, it was very difficult to, like, go out on a limb when I wasn't getting high and actually go, because I was afraid of, and I guess there was always this fear, the fear of success versus the fear of failure.
I can relate.
And it's funny too, because failure was something I was so used to doing. You know, I wasn't really afraid. And here's the threshold that I had to cross. Because it wasn't the fear of failure anymore. It was the fear of success. And it really was, because it's something that I never had, or I never really tasted. I always had these glimpses of it. And the fear factor of being, like, looked at and judged and criticized for having tried something and then not succeeded. There was that. There's always that, even now, like even doing the podcast or even putting myself out there on social media in a way that on the surface may look like, oh, I'm just trying to get attention, or trying to be an influencer, which I'm really not. Like, what I'm really just trying to do is create a platform that's entertaining and somewhat informative, in the sense of, like, listen, you can go from being this total piece of shit, loser, homeless guy to becoming a business owner, home owner, and a trusted and respected member of not just the AA or recovery community, but of your family, and then in a community that you will create in whatever line of business. Yours happens to be a really, you're in financial planning, which is super, you got to be trustworthy.
You have to be. You
got to be about it. You got to earn, you don't, at the end of the day, it's like, what kind of percentage are people getting from you? Like, if the bank's giving me 5 to 7 to 11% in some other areas, what is it you're going to do that's going to create more wealth for me?
100%.
And how secure is that? How do I know it's not a Ponzi scheme?
100%. I always say that. I always tell people when I meet with them and they don't know me, don't worry, you're not going to get Madoffed, and here's why. Like Bernie Madoff.
Yeah, Bernie Madoff, yeah.
So it's just, you're right, though. I mean, and I always say that to people, like, in order to be successful in my business, I mean, it is, truly, it is AA, the mindset,
right,
the principles.
Yeah.
Everything I've learned in business.
So, yeah, I've always said you could apply the traditions.
It's
like,
true.
if you take the traditions and the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous and you apply the same principles and traditions to your business, to your family, it's like absolute key for success.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how you can parlay that? And once you really understand it, then you start doing it and you say, damn, this is really is a design for living. And that's what we've been looking for our whole life.
Yeah. And everyone's like, damn, dude, your routine's so gnarly. And I always think in my head, well, I mean, it's just what I learned in AA.
Yeah, right? That is what we learn.
Yeah.
And so many people, I feel like sometimes I look at everybody and it's like, I was watching, and it's funny about Elon Musk, I'm not saying that I love him or dislike him, but I like his attitude about everything because he puts himself out there on a limb and he doesn't give a fuck. They hate, that guy, Don Lemon, was criticized, was like, hey, aren't you worried about what people think? And he goes, he just kind of looked at him like with this, like, I don't know, like all I ever am is criticized. It doesn't stop me from doing what I'm going to do. And it's really because what he's going to do is in a positive way. What he's trying to do is to try to help other people.
Yep.
And we can apply the same thing. And it's like we're afraid of not succeeding or afraid of being judged by people that don't really even care. So that's where that manufactured, they're not really out there thinking about what we're doing or not doing. They're not.
It's all in our head.
It's all in our head.
I used to think that way. Too.
Yeah.
And then I came to the belief, you know what, I'm alive to impact people, whether it be personally, professionally, financially, or just spiritually. I'm here to help people. And that's my belief. And if someone wants to judge me for that, they can fuck off.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Because that's why I'm here.
Right. And that is a good position. And sometimes it's like we got to take this position of like humility and stuff like that. But sometimes like if you want to succeed and you want to actually succeed in a way that's going to help other people, and as much as it's going to help you, you have to take a position of like, I'm not going to be concerned about what other people think about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it.
To that. Like probably, God, it's because at my core, I learned in my sobriety, like I cared so much about what other people think about me.
Yeah, I still do. You know what's funny? We're still like, what's funny is like I was talking to this girl, this friend of mine, and I was trying to, I'm like an open book. I'm trying to reveal myself. Like, hey, these are my character flaws. These are my character. This is the way I see people and the way, we go from having this superiority complex to an inferiority complex, right?
Yes.
That's very common. But at the end of the day, my self-esteem isn't that I think less of myself. My problem with my self-esteem is I have an overinflated sense of self.
For sure.
It's overinflated.
Absolutely.
And then on the downside of that, it's this fear of what they're going to think about me,
100%.
right? That brings me to that place. And it's like this constant yin and yang, this constant balance. How do we overcome that? And at the same time, find that like level of humility that's required to actually be genuine. And I find that to be the biggest challenge for myself. And this girl, she kind of like was saying all this stuff that like, I'm trying to be honest, but like, don't like totally push the truth down. I don't like agree with me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because 100%. I still want to be able to work through it and still understand who I am and what I am and why I am.
Absolutely.
Because those are going to be the things that kind of either create more obstacles for myself or break down the barriers,
I agree with that.
And it's like today, the barrier is what I think about other people thinking about me.
But isn't it incredible that we can even have that conversation? Because I feel like, and this is why I genuinely love communicating with people in recovery. Yeah. Because we can go here. Right. And I feel like normies, I don't talk like this with normies.
I know. It's crazy, right?
We're not deep in them. I don't know.
Yeah.
They don't do wild. The work
they don't
that we have to do to stay alive.
That's the thing. We have to be able to have those conversations and go just like, it's really about having fun with it. It's not really about getting like, trying to make a point, force feed my point on you or your point on me, but it's about really just training our brains to like, I don't know why people don't go deep like that. Sometimes they just don't want to like feel.
I think maybe they're uncomfortable.
They're uncomfortable. It's a feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a really good book that I always say to people besides the big book that normies can read too. Yeah. It's called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy.
Oh, I'll have to get that one. Is it? Mm-hmm. The Power of Your Subconscious Mind.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Is there like hypnosis tied into that?
Kind of like, like the whole purpose of the book is to make your subconscious work for you when you're not even consciously thinking. So it's a lot of positive affirmation. Yeah. And like you're reading and like there's certain sayings. So I've been a huge proponent of it. I've done it. I've read this book pretty much every year in my sobriety. So
nice. What's the name of the book?
The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. Yeah. It's legit, dude. It's
I'm not going to lie. You know what I've been doing these last like 2 weeks? I've been going to bed listening to like positive affirmation reels. It's
Yeah.
almost like sleep hypnosis.
Yeah.
It really calms you down and helps you sleep at night.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it does because I fall asleep and I have no idea. But and I don't even know what they're saying. They could be brainwashing me. But it starts out pretty good, like saying that, you know, I am. There are a lot of I am statements
Yeah, a
and
lot of
like
I ams.
like a lot of I ams and a lot of empowerment statements. But I've been going to bed with that, and it's really made me sleep harder than I've slept in a long time. Normally, I do yoga in the morning, but these last week I've been like sleeping so hard at night, and I don't know if it has anything to do with this, but I think it might have something to do with it because it really I've gone into a really deep sleep these last week, and it's all because I felt like I wanted to have positive affirmations in my sleep at night for my subconscious mind to absorb.
Yep.
Because I do believe what you're talking about. I haven't read the book, but I've been applying that. I'm sure he talks about doing stuff like that.
For sure.
Is that part of it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like the belief is the, like we just talked about. Oftentimes people will create self-sabotage in their mind, and the truth be told is if we can get our subconscious to work for us, and like we can feed it with positive information. We have 60,000 thoughts a day. So if we can feed our brain with positive information and we can almost visualize, create visions of what we want out of life, and we can have it here, we just have to create it up top.
Right.
Living it in life is easy.
Yeah.
It's the battle is here.
Sure.
So if we can overcome this, and we are so lucky because we have the program.
Right.
You supplement the program with other things. I mean, dude,
So
we
it's-
become robots.
Yeah, it's really about reducing the negative emotions out of
Correct.
your life and the negative contract that you make with yourself. Because what's happening in the subconscious mind, even in like the sleep time that I'm doing, what it is essentially reaffirming positive
Neural pathways up top.
pathways up top versus the ones in your conscious mind.
Correct.
Is actually reinforcing the negative pathways.
Exactly.
And I hear it all the time from guys in recovery, whether they have time or not have times, when they're. And I used to have this. I used to claim this too, that I was a chronic malcontent. That I was a chronic discontent. I was discontented with the experience I was having, the events that were taking place in my life. Why am I not getting the things that everybody else has? And then I would be reaffirming that state of mind, and those are the things in the images that were going inside my head.
Correct.
Right?
For sure.
And so what that does is that prevents this new experience from taking place. And number one, what doesn't take place is I haven't created the imagery in my head, I haven't created the thoughts, or I haven't reprogrammed my mind. And a lot of it is why right now, even in my life right now, one of the things that I've been doing is I've been like listening to these tapes at night. They're not tapes, it's on YouTube, a positive affirmation, sleep hypnosis stuff. And I've been doing that because I feel like I want to tap into my subconscious mind, because I know that on my conscious level, there's a lot of fear and a lot of doubt that are going on. Am I going to succeed? Am I not going to succeed? I need more of this. This is not happening. I need to do that. And what happens is, even though those are the real circumstances and events that are happening in my life, I have to find a way to create new pathways and new imagery that I can do only when I'm in my sleep mode, because in my conscious level mode, guess what I'm doing? I'm recreating negative emotions a lot of the time.
Yes.
And I can sit here and tell you, oh, I want to believe and present this this persona that it's good all the time, that I've got this and I've got that, you know, but there's that underlying theme that's always going on in my head. And it's not like I'm short on stuff. I have things, I have a business, but right, once you start having things, you worry about losing it,
100%.
not keeping it together. I got to do this, I got to do that, and then that becomes what you're manifesting in your head.
100%.
And I'm interested in that book because I've been implementing this process on my own, because I know the only time that I have an opportunity to reprogram myself is in my sleep.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
my subconscious brain is out there picking stuff up while I'm sleeping. But if it's a blank room, guess what? Blank.
Yeah. No,
There's
you're
blank
totally
going
right.
on. Instead, so then I wake up in the morning and guess what's the first thought?
Fear.
Fear.
Yep.
Impending doom.
I can relate.
You know? And so even with some time, and I've got God in my life, I participate, I volunteer at my church too and stuff like that. Do you have a church life at all? Do you do anything like that, or not so much?
Dude. My family goes often. I have, Sundays. I know this is a terrible excuse, but Sundays are kind of like my only day I get to sleep in.
Yeah.
So I've been not consistent or good with church, but I do love it, and I do need to get, honestly, I need to go more. I just go to so many AA, and I'm so involved with like my recovery that I get a lot of, look, I'm not ever here to say AA is better, blah, blah, blah. I get a lot of relief, and I feel God, man, in helping another man go through the steps. I feel God in AA.
You know, you have like one of the things is like our level of spirituality, and you know nowadays churches claim they're spiritual, and it's not like doctrine, religious stuff, which I agree. I mean, they're trying to fall in line with this, like we're a spiritual church, you know, but. I think for me, like one of the things, and I always ask that, I think that out of the steps, working the process is about helping people. Because if you look at all the stories in the back of the book, it's really a story of how they found a relationship with their higher power.
For sure.
You know, and to me, if people understand that, you know, our goal is guiding people through the steps is to help people find the power greater than themselves that's going to restore them to sanity.
For sure.
And basically introduce them to that power somehow through the steps. I mean, they have to actually stick out their hand. I think it was, you know, you ever see that one painting? It's one of the frescoes where God is, you know, I don't know who it is. It's one of the Greek gods. Is like he's laying back, and the fingers they're trying to touch, and God's reaching out to this person. He's just lackadaisically.
I have seen that.
You know that picture? He's not, and he's just like he's almost putting his hand out there, but God's going trying to get to him deeper. You know, and in AA, our job is to like get that hand. I mean, I feel at least that's not just in AA, but in life, it's to help people. And I'm a Christian, so I always proclaim that.
Orthodox.
Yeah, so I'm always proclaiming that, you know, and I don't give a fuck what anybody else. And I'm also a Christian that cusses a lot too, and I probably am a bad example in a lot of ways. But I also have this understanding that I have a relationship with God that is it's you know personal to me, but it's also I believe that, you know, we're here. I have God's favor.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
I cuss a lot too.
Yeah. And so, but at the end of the day, like getting, the reason I like want to stay connected just to like, that organization, because it says somewhere in the book, like we have to enlarge our spiritual life.
100%. That's why I want to get back to church, man.
I just try to find ways to like enlarge my spiritual life, even within the rooms. I'll do as much as I can there outside of the rooms, but then I add this other component in, because what I've learned over the last 19 years is like, it's so easy to get lazy.
It is.
And get complacent. And once I've got all this stuff, now I'm just like, okay, I don't really need to do all that. You know, and it's only an hour out of my life if I go here. It's like if you pick the right place, it's like a TED Talk. Like I go to First Christian over off of Main Street on Adams over there. And our pastor is like, his sermons are like a TED Talk. I feel like I'm getting educated. I'm not getting preached to or like all that kind of stuff. It's just, I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I'm biased because that's where I go, but I've went to a lot of places, and for whatever reason, it's like one of the most educational hours of the day for me.
That's dope.
You know, where I don't have to, it's not like, okay, we're going to like force feed this doctrine in these rules and laws and all this stuff that like a lot of places probably do.
For sure.
We don't have that.
Yeah.
You know, all we have is like good, like it's just like I said, it's like another place for me to grow.
For sure.
And I look at it like that. And then since I value that, then I'll like anything that is of value to me, it becomes worth it to me.
That makes sense.
And really that's how I assign and, you know, the things that I do in my life, it has to be worth it to me, which goes back to the financial planning thing too. The only reason somebody comes to you is because it's worth it.
For sure.
So they got to find value in your services.
Yep.
So like when you were talking about like, you know, even in recovery, the value of recovery is that, you know, I'm not going to die. 100%. It becomes worth it to me.
Yeah.
So that's at the base level. But when you look at like financial planning and stuff like that and stuff that, let's say now they've got a little bit of money. Let's say they're in that bracket where they're not super wealthy and they're just like, what's the like the service, right? That you go, okay, so like we'll stick with business owners because that's what we're talking about. So the business owner that whether it's like, so you got the traditional IRAs, you've got the Roth IRAs, you got the contributions, and that brings down your, you know, you can bring, your taxable dollar, basically whatever your gross was going to come down. What's the best service that you go, this is the service I really want to sell?
Our tax planning with the CPAs.
Okay. What's CPS?
CPA.
Oh, CPA tax. So you link them up with one of your CPAs.
Yeah,
tax
on the
planning.
team, but
Right.
they act as more of an advisor, which I appreciate. You know, they can act as a prepare your taxes, but they're gonna, because they know the tax code inside and out. They have different strategies. Like I told you, the 181, right? Like there's so many other things, investing in oil and gas, doing a cost seg on real estate, you know, buying a car, right? Stuff like that. So the tax mitigation strategies.
Right.
And then also I would say using cash value life insurance as a lending tool and a rich person Roth, tax-free income stream.
Yeah.
But then to take it even further, I would say just the sheer fact that we do for business owners,
Yeah.
we do CFO work, we do bookkeeping work, we do financial planning work, we do tax planning work, and then I have an arm where I don't do this, but I have someone on my team that does property and casualty. So if they have a commercial liability portfolio, we'll look at what they're spending, and oftentimes 9 times out of 10 we're going to be able to save costs.
Got it.
And then we'll be able to help on the group benefit side. So we can bring everything to the table and put. I think a lot of people value having one place where their money is: personal planning, business planning, insurance. Like, so we were able to bring everything to the table. And then I would say, for managing money, I have some of the best portfolio managers in the game. So we bring a lot of value.
A lot of value. Make it worth it.
Yeah, our fees are comparable. Like they're not, you know, they're not like
Crazy. I don't
crazy.
know.
What time is it?
I'm just checking. That's why I was trying to
Yeah,
look at
'cause
the watch.
my-
So it's like it's 1 o'clock.
It's 1?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I gotta go. I got a meeting.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
All right.
Hold on. Let
It's
me.
12:58. It's 1 o'clock. You're supposed to give us the timer. So anyway, so let's we'll do a kind of a wrap up. You know, that was good. We got a lot. You know, that was a lot of fun, man. It was
That was
like super
awesome.
cool. You know, it's kind of crazy how like I can just go from like, oh, let's talk about God to like now we're talking about finances, then we're talking about recovery. But you know, that's just life stuff. You know, and I think that the most important thing about life stuff is just to live it. You know, and the Sober Voyager, another Sober Voyager podcast has been executed. We've been able to like navigate some seas of life, overcome the adversity of you know, really what, you know, I guess a lot of guys that are like professional athletes are striving to be athletes.
We work with athletes.
Yeah, like working with athletes, that's a big thing, right?
Yeah, we work with a lot of athletes.
So because you have a connection with them.
We do, and
Because
my
you have a
partner
story.
too.
Oh, your partner too?
Well, actually, three of us. So one of my partners played football at Princeton. One of my partners played football at Georgetown.
Okay.
And then he is very deeply rooted in the athlete space. He was a personal trainer too.
Okay.
He was also a football coach before his financial planning space. So, I mean, we work with, you know, college NIL athletes. We work with pro athletes.
Right.
We're deep in the athlete space.
Got it. So that's good. So now we can do athletes, recovery. Let's see. Anything else you want to like tell us really quick about? Well, we'll come back again.
Yeah, because
You know, it's like we're kind of like Joe Rogan. People are gonna watch us
we
like
have a
Joe
different
Rogan.
side of the business too, which
Yeah.
is I wanted to throw out to
Yeah, what-
people in recovery.
Yeah.
So my business, we also like I have a vision to create a space where, because I'm the one of the few guys in recovery that I know that has a financial shop.
Yeah, right.
So I really want other people in recovery that have desire to be in finance, like to come, you know, because we have so many different lanes. So we
Right.
can have financial advisors. We have people just doing insurance.
Right.
We have people doing asset management. I mean, there's so many lanes. So anytime I meet someone in recovery and they want a job in finance,
Yeah.
like, I want to be a resource to them.
Okay, got it. So you want to create a new vehicle for guys in recovery to come tap
Yes.
into. You know, I think that's a good idea. I'm going to put my thinking hat on. I love opportunity because remember I said it's about prosperity. You know, just so you know, the audience knows that success is when preparation meets opportunity.
Agreed.
So it's about creating the opportunity for guys who have been preparing. They don't know for what. And then you got to go, here's a package A, package B, package C. These things, when you take try to show people how to take all the experiences, good or bad or indifferent, and then use it into package A, package B, or to become prosperous. That's the goal.
100%.
You know, and teach life skills at the same time. I think I think you're onto something there.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So let's just close it out really quick. My name's Rich Seidel, and this is
Steven Peterson.
Steven Peterson. I forgot. Steven Peterson. Like, look, I want you guys to come back. You guys, we're going to put a link down below. I want to be able to share this with as many people as we can because there's so much going to happen. I could already feel that we're going to be doing something else
For sure.
together. I can already tell that's going to be a good thing. But if you're out there, like, subscribe, share the video, share the podcast, share the love, and most of all, enjoy your the rest of the day. And if you need help navigating the journey of recovery or finances, please click the link below and talk to us. Call the number. We're here to help you guys in any way possible. So I want to thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you again.